How you doing, everyone? Welcome back. You may have met Eva before. She's kind of camera shy, so I'm going to put her down. Um, she's actually the very first of my pets that I've introduced, and I've got something here somewhere. I don't know if that's... Oh, there it is. I don't know what that was. But anyway, that was Eva. Very camera shy. Now, you've met really all of the animals at one point or another if you've been watching this channel from the beginning. Eva, like I said, she was the first one that I introduced. But I did actually, I did videos very specifically about our cat, George. He's the big orange guy. The video about him is called Stray Cat. And then I did one about the little white guy that's got a little bit of black on him. His name is Elliot, and that's the name of that video, is just Elliot. And then I did one about Penelope. She is the gray and black tabby. And I don't remember what I called that video, but I know it has her name in it, Penelope. And now Eva. It's her turn to get a video. Eva, as you see, she's, well, you'd have to rewind to see it, but she's a mostly black cat. She's got a little bit of white on her. And as I've told you before, my wife and I used to foster kittens, which is how we ended up with Elliot, and it's how we ended up with Penelope. It's how we ended up with Eva. Yeah. Oh yeah, Eva. This little girl, oh, she's a little weirdo. She is either right in your face, I mean, I'm talking like licking the tip of your nose in your face, or she wants nothing to do with you. At least with me, that's the way she is. She is less that way with my wife. They actually are pretty good pals. In fact, my wife insisted that we had to keep her and that it was not negotiable. And I'm like, there is absolutely no way that I am going to let you send her back. So, yeah, so that's how we kept her. Basically, there were some kittens that, my wife just fell in love with. And, there were 3 of them in particular that we had one. The kitten's name was Guano. Yes, Guano. Why? Because, well, that one was just kind of, well, crazy. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want you to have to send your kids out of the room because I said something you don't want them to hear. There was another one. I want to say that was maybe Gus was the other one. That was actually Penelope's brother. And then I can't remember the other one's name offhand, but there were like 3 of them. And Eva just had all of the best personality traits from those 3 all rolled into one cat. And my wife said, nope, we are not giving her up. We are keeping this one. Okay. Well, as much as I tried to tell her that no, we shouldn't send her back, you think she'd listen to me? Of course. Of course she listened to me and decided, yeah, no, you're right, we're keeping her. Actually, it's more like I listen to her, but, that's kind of how it goes sometimes. And I figured we had enough house and enough heart for another cat, so, yeah, why not, right? So that's kind of how we ended up with Eva. And this little girl, I'll tell you what, for I don't know, 2 weeks, maybe a month or so straight. Like 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd be dead asleep, and she would jump up on my chest as I'm sleeping in the middle of the night and just start licking my nose. And you know what? As much as I like that cat, I did not like her when she was doing that. She was probably my least favorite of all of the cats when she was doing that, but only because I wanted to be asleep. And she really is just a sweetheart, though. And I don't have quite the personal connection with her that my wife does. It's not that I don't have a connection with her, but I have a better connection with the others. Elliot, you've seen him around too. He doesn't really like me all that much either, but that's for reasons that I'll tell you about some other time, because this is not about him. Anyway, why am I introducing my cats? All right? And you'll meet Chester at some point, and I'll do a video on him later. Whenever he's willing to cooperate. It took me this long to get Eva just to cooperate as much as she did. Right? So, why am I doing a video on each one? Well, do me a favor. Go to your local animal shelter. Forget about don't even adopt anything, right? Don't adopt any animals, right? Go in there. Just go in. Take a look around. And look at how many animals are there. Now, I haven't been to my local shelter recently, but I've been told that they've got something like 400 cats. 400. That's a lot of cats. And, I can't tell you how many times I've heard of them, bringing in 20, 30, 40, 50 cats at a time because of a hoarding situation. You might think I've got a lot of cats, 5 of them. And yeah, I would agree. That's a lot of cats. But I also have a big enough house for 5 cats to have enough space, right? And so that's why I'm going to encourage you to go check out the shelter. And do you think those animals are living the best lives they can? Of course not. Not in a shelter. And it's not that they're not taken care of in the shelter. They are, to the best of their ability. But, they've got so many animals. And there are some shelters. My local shelter is a no-kill shelter. But not every shelter is. Some will euthanize perfectly healthy animals. And I can't really justify it, but I can understand it. I can understand why they do that. When you've got so many, and you're just bringing in more and more, and they're not going out fast enough, what are you going to do? You have to make space somehow. And unfortunately, for some shelters, that's the only way that they have to make space. So what I'm going to encourage you to do, like I said, I haven't been to my local shelter in a while. Used to volunteer there. Like I said, we used to foster. But I'm going to encourage you if you have the time to give, go volunteer at your local shelter. If you have enough heart and enough home and enough, if you are able, financially, emotionally, and you've got, your living situation is where you can take in a cat or two or three, I would encourage you to do that. Or a dog, whichever. I mean, I would encourage you to do that. Again, assuming that you have the means and the living situation to do so. If you don't have the means to do it, I get it. I would still encourage you to go volunteer, though, if you have the time to spare. And it can be just a couple hours, maybe on a Saturday or whatever, But yeah, that's how Eva ended up with us. I mean, they, and Penelope and Elliot. And you know what? Molly, our dog, my wife actually rescued her from a shelter in another town years before we even knew each other. And our cat George, we rescued him from our local shelter here before we started fostering. And then, I don't know, some would say, I guess the term is foster fail when you adopt them. But I don't know. I don't feel like we failed in keeping them. I think that was the right thing to do. Anyway, if you have the time, or you know what, if you don't have the time but you have a few bucks that you can donate to your local shelter, or that you can pick up some supplies to donate to your local shelter, I would encourage you to do that, right? Whatever you can do to help. Because you know what, Eva, she's a good cat. And there are others just like her that need someone like you to help them out. See you next time.